Welcome to Twisted Mythology, your go-to YouTube channel for all things mythology. In today's video, we will break down 10 shocking facts about Archangel Michael from the Bible. Now, I need you to sit back, relax, and watch till the very end. There's a shocking reveal in this video.
Most people know Archangel Michael as one of God's messengers. You've probably seen him in paintings or stained glass windows, a powerful figure of strength and holiness. He's a familiar name, a symbol of divine power. But what if the Bible tells us he's something more? What if the popular image we have of Michael barely scratches the surface? Hidden within its verses are some explosive details about his real job. We're about to pull back the curtain on 10 biblical facts that prove Michael isn't just an angel. He's heaven's ultimate warrior. We will dig into the scriptures and explore the ancient traditions that grew from them to separate hard biblical fact from popular myth. The truth is more complex, more powerful, and frankly, more shocking than you might think. And a few of these facts will change the way you see him forever. Section 1. He has a unique and contested title, the Archangel. First up, let's talk about Michael's rank. A lot of people talk about archangels like they're a whole class of angels, but the Bible is surprisingly specific with this title. In fact, this is our first shocking fact. The title, the Archangel, seems to be reserved for Michael alone. The book of Jude, verse 9, gives us the clearest statement. But Michael the Archangel, when he disputed with the devil over the body of Moses, did not presume to bring a slanderous charge against him, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." Notice the wording, Michael the Archangel. The use of "the" has led many scholars to believe he holds a unique position, possibly as the only one with that rank. The term itself means chief of the angels, so it's a pretty big deal. However, things get a little more complicated when we look at other scriptures. 1 Thessalonians 4:16 mentions, "The Lord's return will be accompanied by the voice of the archangel." The verse doesn't name Michael, leaving it open to interpretation. And in the book of Daniel, the picture gets even more interesting. In chapter 10, an angel tells Daniel that Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. The phrase, one of the chief princes, suggests Michael is part of an elite group of angelic leaders, not necessarily a singular commander over everyone. This is a biblical nuance that popular culture often misses. The truth is, he's an immensely powerful leader, the only one explicitly named an archangel, but he's also part of a celestial ruling class. This sets the stage for his role not just as a figurehead, but as an active commander in a universe filled with unseen conflicts. Section 2. He is the general of heaven's armies in a cosmic war. Many angels in the Bible are messengers or guardians, but Michael's primary job is warrior general. This isn't just some artistic choice. It's a biblical fact recorded in the most apocalyptic book of all, Revelation. And this is where we see Michael in his most defining role. Chapter 12 of Revelation gives us a front row seat to a war in heaven itself. It reads, "And war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was not strong enough. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil, or Satan. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him." Let's really think about what this says. This isn't a minor skirmish. It's a full-scale war for the heavens. On one side, you have the dragon, identified as Satan, leading his own army. On the other side, leading God's forces, is Michael. He is the named commander, the one leading the charge. The text says, Michael and his angels, making it clear he's their leader. This passage is the cornerstone of Michael's identity as heaven's ultimate warrior. He isn't just fighting in the battle. He's commanding it. The result is a total victory. Satan and his forces are completely defeated and kicked out of heaven for good. This isn't just a nice story about good triumphing over evil. It's a military coup, and Michael served the eviction notice. This one event cements his reputation as God's enforcer, the one trusted to take on ultimate evil and defend heaven itself. His name, which means, "Who is like God?" becomes a battle cry, a direct challenge to the dragon who dared to defy God. Section 3. He is the designated guardian prince of a nation. While the battle against Satan shows Michael's power on a cosmic scale, the book of Daniel reveals a much more personal job. Michael is the designated guardian, the heavenly prince assigned to protect the nation of Israel. This transforms him from a distant cosmic warrior into a dedicated protector with a very specific earthly mission. The prophecy is laid out in Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. An angel gives Daniel this incredible news. At that time Michael, the great prince who stands watch over your people, will arise. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never has been. But at that time your people shall be delivered, everyone whose name shall be found written in the book. This verse has some huge implications. First, it names Michael as the great prince who stands watch over Daniel's people, the Israelites. This points to a celestial system where powerful angels are assigned as guardians over nations. Michael isn't a freelance warrior. He has a specific jurisdiction, Israel. Second, the timing is critical. He will arise during a time of unparalleled trouble, a period many believe refers to the end times. His arising isn't a passive stance. It's a powerful, decisive intervention for his people. When history reaches its most desperate moment, Michael is the one who steps in to ensure their deliverance. Earlier in Daniel, another angel even calls Michael your prince. This consistent theme paints a clear picture. Michael's job description includes being the heavenly champion for God's chosen people, fighting the unseen spiritual battles that shape the destiny of nations. This makes him not just a hero of a past war, but an active defender whose greatest moment may be yet to come. Section 4. His only quoted words in the Bible show ultimate restraint. For an angel with so much power, you'd expect Michael to have some grand speeches in the Bible. But the shocking truth is, the scriptures only record him saying one short phrase. And those words aren't a boastful war cry, but a powerful display of humility. This happens in that mysterious passage in Jude 109. It describes a direct confrontation between Michael and Satan. But Michael the archangel, when he disputed with the devil over the body of Moses, did not presume to bring a slanderous charge against him, but said, "The Lord rebuke you." That one line, "The Lord rebuke you," is the only direct quote from Michael in the entire Protestant Bible. The context here is a big deal. While the Bible is short on details, the verse references an ancient Jewish text, the Assumption of Moses. In traditions surrounding this text, Satan claimed he had a right to Moses' body, possibly to tempt the Israelites into creating an idolatrous shrine. Faced with the father of lies himself, Michael refuses to get into a war of words. He doesn't trade insults. He could have listed all of Satan's sins, but he doesn't. Instead, he defers to a higher authority. He uses God's name and power to put Satan in his place. This is a masterclass in how divine power works. Michael, the general of heaven's armies, understands that real authority comes from God, not himself. He doesn't need to win an argument. By saying, "The Lord rebuke you," he shows perfect obedience. It proves his strength isn't rooted in pride, but in his absolute submission to his Creator. For heaven's ultimate warrior, the greatest weapon isn't his own might, but the authority of the one he serves. Section 5. He fights against other angelic princes. The Bible gives us brief but fascinating glimpses into a world of spiritual warfare that is way more complex than just angels versus demons. It reveals a hidden hierarchy of spiritual beings, both good and evil, who influence earthly nations. And in this celestial political game, Michael is the go-to reinforcement. This is all laid out in Daniel chapter 10. A glorious angel, widely thought to be Gabriel, appears to Daniel, but explains that he was late. He says, "The prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days, But Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me. Think about that for a second. This angel was on a mission from God, but was held up for 3 weeks by the prince of the kingdom of Persia. This wasn't a human prince. This was a powerful demonic entity assigned to Persia, working to influence its leaders against God's plans. The battle was so intense that Gabriel couldn't break through alone. He needed backup. And who was the backup? Michael. The verse shows Michael's role as a heavenly enforcer, the heavy hitter who gets called in when things get tough. This passage reveals that spiritual battles are being fought over nations, with angelic and demonic princes fighting for influence. The angel even tells Daniel, "There is none who contends by my side against these, except Michael, your prince." This establishes Michael not just as Israel's guardian, but as the main angelic force combating these hostile spiritual entities. He isn't just waiting for a final war. He's active in the ongoing conflicts that shape our history. If you're fascinated by this look into the world of Archangel Michael, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We explore biblical truths and sacred mysteries every week, and you don't want to miss what we're covering next. Section 6. Tradition identifies him as a destroyer of armies, while the Bible only names Michael in a few places. Religious tradition, especially in Jewish and some Christian interpretations, has often identified him as the unnamed angel of the Lord behind some of the Old Testament's most terrifying displays of power. One of the most shocking is the destruction of an entire Assyrian army overnight. The event is recorded in 2 Kings 19:35. The Assyrian king Sennacherib had surrounded Jerusalem, and King Hezekiah prayed for deliverance. The Bible then says, "And that night the angel of the Lord went out and struck down 185,000 in the camp of the Assyrians. When the people got up the next morning, there were all the dead bodies." The Bible doesn't name the angel, but a powerful tradition developed that credited this incredible act of destruction to Michael. The logic makes sense. If Michael is the guardian prince of Israel and commander of heaven's armies, who else would God send to carry out a massive military strike for his people? Jewish Midrashic literature specifically names Michael as the one who wiped out Sennacherib's army. This interpretation frames Michael not just as a spiritual warrior, but as an angel capable of wielding devastating power in the physical world. Wiping out 185,000 soldiers without a single human casualty is an act of overwhelming force. Attributing this to Michael makes him the ultimate weapon in God's arsenal. Now we have to be clear. This is tradition, not explicitly stated in the Bible, but it fits perfectly with Michael's established roles. It amplifies his identity as a warrior by showing the devastating real-world consequences when this celestial general is deployed on an earthly battlefield. Section 7. Extra-biblical texts portray him as a rescuer of patriarchs. While we're focused on the Bible, we can't ignore the ancient Jewish traditions that help us understand figures like Michael. These texts, like the Midrash, often fill in the narrative gaps and show Michael protecting Israel long before Daniel's time. In fact, they shockingly place him at key moments in the lives of the patriarchs. According to these ancient rabbinic writings, Michael's job as Israel's defender started at the very beginning. For instance, the Midrash tells the famous story of Abraham being thrown into a fiery furnace by King Nimrod. The Bible doesn't record this, but in these traditional texts, it's Archangel Michael who dives in and rescues Abraham from the flames. And it doesn't stop there. Other traditions say Michael was the messenger who told Abraham that his nephew Lot had been captured, setting his rescue in motion. They say it was Michael who protected Abraham's wife, Sarah, from a Philistine king. And when Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac, some traditions say it was Michael who held back his hand. Again, it's important to remember these are traditions, not scripture. But they reveal how deeply ingrained Michael's role as Israel's champion was in ancient thought. They show him not just as a distant general, but as an intimate protector, intervening at critical moments to save the forefathers of the nation he was assigned to guard. It suggests his title as Prince of Israel was a role he'd been faithfully carrying out from the very beginning. Section 8. He is traditionally seen as the Weigher of Souls. Of all the jobs attributed to Michael, none is more iconic than his depiction as the Weigher of Souls at the final judgment. While this specific image isn't in the Bible, it became a core part of Catholic tradition, rooted in biblical themes of justice. In countless pieces of medieval art, Michael is shown holding a set of scales. In one pan is a soul, and in the other are its deeds. This act, known as psychostasis, or soul weighing, determines the soul's eternal fate. So, where did this idea come from? The concept of weighing a person's life is ancient, appearing in the Egyptian Book of the Dead. This theme was adapted into Christian thought, and Michael, as the chief angel of justice and the one who defeated Satan, was the natural fit for the job. Christian tradition gives Michael four main roles: to fight Satan, to rescue the faithful at the hour of death, to be the champion of God's people, and to escort souls to judgment. His role as the Weigher of Souls is a direct extension of these duties. He's the one who fights off the accuser, Satan, and ensures a fair hearing before God. So, while you won't find a verse that says, "And Michael took out his scales," this traditional role is a powerful summary of his biblical character. It combines his identity as a warrior for justice with his function as a guide for the faithful, making him the one who ensures righteousness is rightly judged. Section 9. His flaming sword is a symbol with deep traditional roots. When you picture Archangel Michael, you almost certainly picture him with a sword. But often, in art and tradition, it's a flaming sword. This detail isn't just for show. It's a symbol tied to one of the earliest events in Genesis, though its connection to Michael comes from tradition, not direct scripture. The Bible itself never says Michael has a flaming sword. His warrior role is clear, but his weapon isn't named. The idea of a flaming sword in an angel's hand comes from Genesis 3:24. Right after Adam and Eve are exiled from Eden, the verse says God placed on the east side of the Garden of Eden cherubim, and a flaming sword flashing back and forth to guard the way to the tree of life. The Bible gives this weapon to the cherubim, a different class of angels. So how did it become Michael's? The connection comes from a tradition that says whenever a major unnamed angel appears in the Old Testament, it's probably Michael. Since Michael is the top guardian and warrior, traditions identified him as the chief guardian of paradise. Therefore, the flaming sword became his symbolic weapon. It represents divine power, purification, and judgment. It's the weapon that bars entry back to a state of lost innocence. By wielding it, Michael is seen as the enforcer of God's most sacred boundaries. It symbolizes his power to cut through lies and deception, exposing evil for what it is. Section 10. His ultimate power is his submission to God, and this might be the biggest shocker of them all. In a world that equates power with dominance, Michael's greatest strength is the opposite, his absolute submission to God. We saw this when he faced Satan over Moses' body, and this theme is the bedrock of his entire identity. Despite being called a great prince and the archangel, Michael never acts on his own authority. Every single action he takes is as an agent of God. This is the fundamental rule for angels. Unlike Satan, whose pride led him to say, "I will make myself like the Most High," Michael's entire being is centered on the question that is his name. Who is like God? It's a rhetorical question that constantly reminds everyone of their place. The answer is no one. His submission is his power. In Jude, by refusing to rebuke Satan himself and instead deferring to the Lord, Michael shows that God's authority is infinitely more powerful than any personal power. This perfect obedience makes him the perfect warrior. He has no ego or ambition contrary to God's will. This final fact really ties all the others together. He's the general of heaven's armies because he's perfectly obedient to the commander-in-chief. He's the guardian of Israel because he was assigned that post by God. Michael's story is the ultimate proof that true power isn't found in rebellion, but in perfect, humble service to an authority greater than oneself. He is heaven's ultimate warrior precisely because he is heaven's most loyal servant. We've seen that the truth about Archangel Michael is far more awe-inspiring than the simple image of a winged warrior. He's called the Archangel, yet he's also one of the chief princes, revealing a complex celestial hierarchy. He is the commanding general in the war against Satan, the designated guardian of a nation, and a key player in ongoing spiritual battles. We've also seen how tradition paints him as a rescuer of patriarchs and the weigher of souls. But above all, we've learned that his ultimate power, the secret to his authority, comes from his absolute submission to God. His entire identity is a question: who is like God? The image of Michael is not just that of a warrior. He is a model of loyalty, a symbol of divine justice, and a beacon of hope. What does Michael's role as heaven's ultimate warrior mean to you? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you enjoyed uncovering these biblical secrets, please like this video, share it, and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, so you don't miss our next dive into the untold stories of the Bible.